let's talk about the trade, not trade, but the move that almost made me crash my car on Tuesday, and that is what the Denver Nuggets did, and that is firing Michael Malone, their long tenured championship winning head coach, and also fired GM Calvin Booth, who was the general manager that orchestrated the roster that won the 2023 NBA championship. Now, this is the third coach to win one of the last five NBA championships to be fired in the last couple of years. Joining who was it? It was Frank Vogel and also Mike Budenholzer. So yeah, so as another one here, man. Now there's been a lot of rumors about what has been going on. Obviously, I mean, apparently there's been a cold war between Michael Malone and Calvin Booth. These niggas have never liked each other, and it's just something where Denver Nuggets owner, Josh Kroenke, who them niggas own everything. Them niggas are the Arsenal owners too. I found out as well. Them niggas own
Yeah.
everything. Uh, he decided, and he didn't want to pick sides, so he decided to get rid of both of them. My first reaction was, "What the fuck?" Like to me, it's like, okay, if you're gonna fire the head coach, that's one thing. Firing the head coach 9 days before the NBA playoffs start is asinine. I don't care what the situation was. Get through the postseason, and at least if you're gonna fire him, give a little respect. I feel like when a coach has been with your franchise for a decade and is your highest winning coach of all time, the coach that's brought you your only championship in franchise history, he should be treated with a lot more respect than what he was treated with. If they go to playoffs and they fail, it's whatever. Tell Michael, like, yo, Mike, it's been a good decade. We've learned, we've all gained something from this relationship. We gonna part ways. I see nothing how this helps them. And we're already floundering. Right now, if the playoffs begin, they'd be, I think, the fifth seed, if I'm not correct. The Western Conference standards change like every 5 hours now. But that's not helping. The fact this team is even where they're at right now, mainly because of Nikola Jokic, but also because I believe Michael Malone's coaching. This roster is not what it was 2 years ago. They're going to get rid of anybody. Get rid of the GM who let some of these important pieces walk. In my personal opinion, there's just a lack of respect that's shown here. And if you're, I think David Adelman, Rick Adelman's son, this doesn't set him up well either. Now you got to take this team that you were not the head coach of for the entire year and guide them in the playoffs. It's just was wildly put together, and I think that this just could have waited. Like even with the Taylor Jenkins thing, Taylor Jenkins wasn't in Memphis for 10 years. Taylor Jenkins didn't win an NBA championship. This was much more of a slap in the face and something that I just didn't understand. Bang, what you think about this firing that happened this week?
I'm still confused. And here's why I'm even more confused. If there's been a Cold War going on since Calvin Booth was hired, this is ownership's fault. This is ownership's fault. If these guys ain't like each other the whole time, this is ownership's fault. That means last year somebody should have been fired. I don't care if it's 2 years removed from an NBA championship. Last year, somebody should have been fired if it is that toxic. If it's that toxic and y'all been winning, then finish the goddamn season and then take care of everything then. But I think this was a move that was stupid. Like you just waited out. You've waited this long in a toxic relationship. What is this going to do to galvanize anything? What 3-4 games before the season is over with, especially when things are so close. It's just a stupid move. Wait till after the season over with. But this is ownership's fault by letting this go on so long.
Dante, what's your thoughts on this?
No, I agree. I agree 100%. I think it's one of those situations where you have somebody who's won a championship. Come on, bro. He won a championship. You've had success despite injuries, despite whatever's been tossed his way, and we turned it into a power struggle where we say, well, I can't pick sides. I think somebody made a good point. It was shocking off the strength that The Cronkies don't really switch coaches like that in any of the teams that they own. It's typically not what they do. They usually rock it out. They let their front offices do their jobs, and like you see, he's been successful. The man's won championships with every team he has for the most part, except for Arsenal. But um, it doesn't make sense to me. You know, a couple games before the playoffs. But also they said that because it was such an issue that you know, sometimes winning can mask the real issue. That I think this was Wendy who said it. They had to fire him because if you go to the playoffs and you run it off again, not even win the championship, but you make a deep playoff run, then you look insane if you fire Mike Malone after that. So it was like look crazy now as opposed to risking to him going in, winning, and you looking even worse. So like if I guess it's like more of a thing where they felt like they were winning in spite of him and not because of him. So if that's how you feel, then yeah, make the switch. But for me, it didn't make a lot of sense at all.
Yeah, even if you feel that way about your winning in spite of them, it's weighted out. Like to me, this is like something. It's like you rooming with your significant other, and you decide to kick the person out when you got like a week left on the lease. Like nigga, you might as well just let the shit rock out. Like at that point, that's what this is to me. But to me, this spurs a bigger question that I'm worried about. Is this the new era of coaching where you know some of the complaints was he rolled the players too hard, pause, and that he said things that you know the old school coaches usually say that really players don't like anymore. And from what we learned, Nikola Jokic knew nothing about it. Joker's actual quote was, "I was told about it, and I was a shock, but then I moved on and accepted it." Granted, he's not from here, so maybe he's easy with these things. I don't know. He seemed like he's real robotic with the answer, but we don't actually know how Jokic really feels about this. This is going to be the beginning of Jokic being upset with the front office. This is the beginning before he asked for a trade request. But is this going to be something when we see with coaches where they're going to be a much more shorter leases? Well, maybe at max, they're 3-5 years. I mean, Jerry Buss himself said he feels like after 8 years that a coach gets toned out, and we saw that with in Chicago with Ozzie Guillen, with Lovie Smith, and even Coach Q, who won the 3 championships with the Blackhawks. Like, yeah, 2 to 3 of these men are championship winning coaches, but after a while, their voice got tired. Maybe that was the case. My problem isn't firing Mike Malone. The problem is how they did it. But do you think we're going to see something where, and I understand a little bit from the team perspective, when you know about the second apron that's really impacting the NBA, where now you gotta try to win very, very quickly, because if you have any max players, it's very hard to keep all of them. Like the Boston Celtics are winning right now, they're gonna have an issue in about 2 years because of all the guys they've got to pay. So maybe when you're paying all these billions and billions of dollars, you're like, okay, we need to win now. And if they don't get it done, they're out of here. But I really think this is like a transactional factor right here in the NBA. Now, Michael Malone's going to be fine. I think he's going to find a job very quickly. And we're going to talk about an option I think will be great for him in just a minute. But, Ben, do you think this is ushering in a new era of, how much rope coaches have when they get jobs now?
I don't think it's gonna be like a new. I don't think it's gonna be like a new trend. I think that this trend has been going on. It's just when we look at it now, it's bigger coaches that this is happening to. I think this is just simply a situation, if you listen to everything, um, that the coach and the GM was just in a toxic situation. And again, I put the onus on this squarely on ownership. Ownership should have nipped this in the bud a long time ago, and they didn't. And they let this go. And that's why we're in what we're in. But I do think this is just, I will say that this probably is just another version of player empowerment, because if you listen to what some of the things that was said, it was basically said that Joker, you had one person said that Joker was not aware of it, and blah blah blah. This is the only coach he's ever known. Blah blah blah. But then you have some people that said that Joker or Mike Malone's way of coaching um weighed heavily on Jokic too. I don't believe that to be the case. I also believe, simply put, that this was just a toxic situation and they felt like they had no other way to go. Maybe something happened between those two, or somebody cut somebody out, a yelling match. We'll find that out. But I think that these are just situations. I think these are situations more so. Let's find out what the other person got. Let's find out what David Adelman can do. Let's find out what the gentleman that is the interim head coach of the Grizzlies could do. David Adelman has been on multiple head coaching list of future head coaches, and people have had interviews and things of that nature. So being that you have somebody like that and you have somebody that you trust, because nobody on the offense, nobody on the staff got fired either. It was just the coach and the GM. None of the assistant coaches got fired. So if David Adelman is used to this group, nobody got fired, and he's been somebody that people see as a future head coach, you run with that in this situation. But I don't think these are like hockey firings, to put it specifically. I think these are situations where it's like, look, even with Taylor Jenkins, we fired your whole staff last year. Writing was on the wall.
Yeah, that's very true. And one thing about Boots that I didn't know, they have been trying to negotiate an extension since November that was moving nowhere. Dante, do you think this is just a one off, or is this going to be something we start seeing happening more in the NBA?
I think you're gonna start to see it happening more. I think Steve Kerr hit the nail on the head when he spoke about a lot of the venture capital and finance money that's coming into sports, and you have to look at the way they do business. It's kind of like with the way our political system is being ran right now, where people are trying to, focus on profits and cutting waste and things like that. That's just a broad way that they think in terms of everything. And so having them come into sports is going to be the same way. If they aren't getting a certain result, so they feel like a certain coach isn't doing what they want to be done, they're going to be gone. I think you're going to see it a lot faster as more and more of that type of money and that type of business mind comes into sports. So it's unfortunate because we talk about how it takes time to build a team, build chemistry, create a culture and things like that. But right now, these ownership groups aren't trying to hear that. Like, we're gonna spend the money, we want the success. If you can't give it to us, we're gonna find somebody who can. And I think it's gonna be that simple.
Catch I'm Not Gonna Hold You, hosted by Scott Lewis, every Monday and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, only on HNB Media and the Barbershop Network.